gluey and a bit like, Hello beautifuls, welcome back to my Chanel. So, I didn't think when I started this series we'd have so many scandals to cover, but here we are, girls. It's America's Next Top Scandal, girls. This, honestly, in some weird, deranged way, is actually my favourite time of the month, and it happens twice a month. We get to look back at what exactly was going on with America's Next Top Model and how the hypocrisy surrounding the show and Tyra Banks' expression within the people on the show. Does that make any sense? I think you could extrapolate some meaning from that sentence. So far in this series, we have covered race-swapping photo shoots, injuries and flesh-eating bacteria, how America's Next Top Model has approached death, and the infamous Tyra Banks rant at Tiffany, among other things we have covered in this series. During the last episode of this series, Tyra Banks said something really poignant that stuck with me, and that is, I'm a beauty crusader.
But even more important to me was being a beauty crusader. And so what ends up happening...
Now, I don't really believe her when she said this in that interview with Chicks in the Office. And the reason why I say that, we are going to look at a small example, just a small, tiny little example of why I don't believe that. Today, we are going to be looking at the gap tooth scandal. And there are two of those. So, with that being said, my lovely... Excuse you. With that being said, my lovelies, today we're looking at episode... Oh gosh, what are we looking at? We're looking at ANTM Cycle 6, Episode 8, and we're also looking at ANTM Cycle 15, Episode 3. So, shall we begin? Time to pop in my orongo. In she goes, and off we go into the realms of America's Next Top Scandal, girls. So the model that we're going to be looking at is called Danielle, and she has a gap tooth.
So today we're dealing with perfection and beauty. So Tyra has an extra special treat for you guys. We're gonna send you guys to an amazing dentist here in LA.
Oh, wow.
So,
Tyra.
Now, for most of you, that just means whitening your teeth.
Okay.
But for Joni and Danielle, the dentist is gonna do something about that snaggletooth and for that gap tooth and perfect your smile.
Did you see Danielle's face then when he said gap? Have a look at this. Have
An amazing dentist here in LA.
Oh, wow.
So,
Tyra.
now, for most of you, that just means whitening your teeth. But for Joni and Danielle, the dentist is gonna do something about that snaggletooth and for that gap tooth and perfect your smile. What's wrong, Joni?
I'm happy, right? Your tears of joy.
Oh, that's quite sweet.
Oh,
I never afford anything like that. If we could go to the dentist for a checkup every year, we are lucky.
So, is there anything that you don't like about your smile?
my gums are receding up here, like on my front tooth.
What about the gap?
I love my gap. The gap, I love the gap. The signature gap is staying in my mouth. That's who I am.
See, I absolutely love that she has said the signature gap is staying. So that is count number one, that she has said, I love my gap, the gap is staying. All right, so she has put her foot down and she has said, no, I do not want it closed. We are keeping it the way it is. Interestingly enough, also in this episode, it did not go well for Danny because, well, let's just watch, shall we? So the girls are doing a photo shoot in which they have to cry. And, I would say if I was a makeup artist on a photo shoot, I would have used glycerin tears and been like, act it, sis, act it. We're going to put it in your lashes to make everything look a bit gluey and a bit like, But just act as if you're crying, sis. I'm not going to actually make you cry, but Tyra didn't think that. Tyra was like, do you know what we're going to do to everyone in this show, as well as Danny, who's just also put her foot down by saying, I do not want my gap closed. Let's watch.
Tyra. Hello, Jade. How are you? All right, so Jade, everybody thinks modeling is glamour and fabulous and beautiful, but there's an ugly side. Yes. And I have shed so many tears in this industry. So today, you're gonna be doing a photo shoot directed by me, and you're going to be crying in the photo shoot, okay? I got a little tool here.
Oh, okay.
And this is Tear Stick.
Awesome.
I'm gonna put this on your eyes, and this is going to make you cry.
Okay, it's gonna have a little bit of bite to it, so... Can you feel
Oh,
it?
look, it's Raja.
They put like a stick of vapor on her eyes, so her eyes would tear. At first, I didn't feel it. It was like on my eyelids. Like,
All right.
So, Sutan, give me a little bit more. Come on, give me a little bit more.
Feel it already?
Tears are coming.
All right, Jim.
And then they
So Jade,
cry.
it's not gonna be like acting.
So, when it came to Danielle's turn, look at what happened.
Make you tear up.
Are you ready, Miss Danielle?
Yeah, I'm definitely crying.
It's supposed to burn.
So, Tom, what is this you put in my eye? What is this?
So the way she says it's supposed to burn, like a product that you use something like this, it's not burning, it's a sensation that makes you cry. It makes your eyes tear up, well up, get moist, but it doesn't make you like, it doesn't burn. It's not like putting a chemical directly in the eye that's gonna make your eyes go, like that's not the point of this tear stick. So look what happens.
I'm crying because like the menthol is steady making my tears flow, but I want to scream. It was really bad.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna pour in. Okay.
What?
A little better?
What?
No, that's better.
Okay.
But once I got up there, you know, I got into the zone.
Good. Relax.
They just totally glossed over there the fact that she could have been having quite a drastic reaction to this product. Like, the idea that she was like, I wanted to scream, and then Tyra's there just, like, emptying an entire Evian bottle, like, into her eyes. That shouldn't be happening with a product like this. That should not be happening. Just use fake tears. What was happening?
Face. Think old Hollywood movie star.
Imagine now having to model.
Now I want you to push it and get out of your comfort zone. Like this.
With your face burnt.
Sad.
Yeah.
I'm so innocent.
I nailed my shoot after I got past the pain.
Ludicrous. This show is ludicrous. This show is so ludicrous. Like, the whole point of a photo shoot is to act out a situation for fashion, not to actually remove people's eyes and make them cry. So now we go over to the judging panel of basically this episode and see what Tyra has to say to Danny about well, about what's transpired in this episode.
Okay, up next is Danielle. So Danielle, you went to the dentist, but you refused to have your gap closed.
Also, didn't that sound like a voiceover? That didn't sound like what she actually said to her then. I wonder if there was some sort of like backwards and forwards situation happening there. And the producers were just like, cut it out, make it look as if Tyra was like, so you didn't do this for me, did you? No.
Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with the gap in your mouth?
Yeah, why not?
This is all people see. It's Easy Reads Beautiful CoverGirl. It's not marketable.
Yeah, just a little bit is okay, but I don't want to completely close it.
Well, I guess she just left the gap wide open for another girl, baby.
I agree.
And that is how this show creates such a problem for potential contestants and girls that are watching this. In fact, young people that are watching this that have a gap in their teeth, they're gonna see that and be like, oh my God, I now have to immediately get this one thing that can make my entire look interesting. Madonna has a gap tooth. How is a gap tooth not fashionable and not like, doesn't give you an edge over something else? I swear Tyra just had something against people that were that had something unique about them in this show. It feels like she had like a vendetta against unusually beautiful girls. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I'm not going to speculate on why, but it definitely feels like there's something going on. Do you know what I mean? That it's not, I'm a beauty crusader, so I'm going to tell you to have your gap tooth closed because, easy breezy beauty cover girl, this is all they're going to see. Like, well, that's the point. Unusual beauty. Weird. Really, really weird. But then sadly, did you also hear Danny then say, okay, I will have it closed just a little bit? Like, she's almost been upsold on the idea of having her gap tooth closed because 5 people in a judging panel, or is it 4? It might have been 4, I can't even remember. So insignificant. 5 people in a room in a judging panel have said, why didn't you get your gap closed? And now she feels like she has to. What?
I don't see any deep emotion. I certainly don't see sadness.
You already know you can take a pretty picture. It's effortless for you, but I never got that true, deep, strong emotion. You had a photo shoot where you had to be a doll, and here's your best shot.
You've definitely got the body language down.
Stunning lady
which is
on the
so
game.
important, it's key.
Can I see a close-up? Look at that. It's a blank eye, but there's some intensity in there. Okay. Up next is Jade.
And then that's just it. Danielle then has to go to the back of the stage and she ends up getting her gap tooth closed just a little bit. Now, what makes this so frustrating to hear that is because remember that Tyra said that she is a beauty crusader and she stands for setting trends in the industry and making sure all of her girls feel beautiful and illustrious and wants them to give them a career that will span decades. No, that's not what's happening. Let's move on to Cycle 15. So Cycle 5 aired in 2006 and Cycle 15 aired in 2010. And guess what happens in Cycle 15? Well, we're about to watch the infamous makeover episode in which, well, let's watch.
Now, before we start filling up those portfolios, though, we have to make sure that you look high fashion.
I must admit though, When I really enjoyed watching this show when I was younger, I lived for the makeover episodes. I was like,
oh my god, I'm so excited to see what they do with everyone.
the thing is that they had specific makeovers designed for certain people, and if you notice, there was always a Naomi-style makeover, and that girl who got that never went that far in the competition. Just saying.
Kayla, I think your hair needs to be powerful, pizzazz, and bright, and fiery. And I feel like your makeover has to do with exaggeration. Kendall, we're gonna add some sexuality and sensuality to you. Liz. Liz has got long hair and she's got no hair. And I'm going to make it one hairstyle.
Tyra gave us little hits and bits and pieces on the makeovers. But at this point, I don't know for sure.
Casey, I want to focus here on you.
Okay.
Sarah, those girls were wondering if you California beach blonde up here. See, we love your teeth. And if you agree, we'd love to exaggerate that and take you a little bit more to Lauren Hutton.
Make it as big as you want it.
Chris, take that thing off.
They make her gap tooth bigger 4 years after she said,
You will never be a cover girl with a gap tooth.
The hypocrisy here is outstanding. As someone who described herself as a beauty crusader, why wasn't she celebrating people's differences? Why wasn't she celebrating what makes people unique? Why was she always trying to meld everyone into this same single idea of what she thinks does well in fashion? And we know from people after the show saying, you know, they don't get fashion industry jobs. They just don't get them. There's no career after America's Next Top Model. Winnie Harlow is one of the exceptions, and she does not credit it at all in her success story. So Chelsey is now at the dentist getting her gap tooth widened.
My makeover started a lot earlier than everybody else's. I had to get my gap in my teeth widened. So I went to the dentist.
It's the same dentist. It's the same dentist. It's the same dentist. Look.
And he actually shaved off 1/4 millimeter off of each tooth. Tyra wants ice blonde. And of course I will do anything that she thinks looks good.
Oh, yeah.
The competition's so big and intense.
Also, that hair is not ice blonde.
And the stakes are so high that I take it really seriously.
I mean, it's definitely blonder. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Ugh, the idea of having my teeth widened for a modelling competition show is so obscene, because it's like, why are you widening that tooth for this short amount of time? Like, what's going to happen to you in 10 years' time when you're clearly not going to be a model forever? You're just going to have this gap tooth now that's just like a quick choice on a show. Like, the reality is that she wouldn't have consulted any other dentists at this point. She would have just been like, Tyra says it's a good idea, so that's what I'm going to do. Did you hear what she said? She even said, literally, like, make it as wide as you want. So it's like, you're making a permanent alteration to your body on the whim of an ex-model on her reality TV show competition. That, to me, just seems insane. When you know in history she's also had a thing about closing gap teeth. Weird. It is weird. All right, my lovelies, I think that's enough for me right there. I'm going to push my laptop away from me and let's recap what we've seen. Once again, America's Next Top Model has not failed to shock me. Absolutely shock me. So apparently Danny went live, or Danielle, should I say. She's now known as Danny Evans. She went live on Instagram to talk about her experience with having her tooth gap closed on America's Next Top Model. She said that she knew that America's Next Top Model, she wasn't going to go very far in America's Next Top Model. She said that she wanted to experience the process from start to finish. As I've said constantly throughout this video, I just really am surprised at the audacity of Tyra Banks suggesting that close this gap tooth, widen this one, and then we'll have something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels really... It kind of puts that previous video that I did, in which she did that interview with Chicks in the Office podcast. It kind of puts a lot of things into perspective that she, like... She doesn't know. She doesn't know why she did any of this, realistically. She just did it on a whim because it would make good TV. Let me know what you guys think about today's episode of America's Next Top Scandal Girls in the comments box below, and we shall create a dialogue about this, because it's just too much, isn't it? It's just too much. Would you have got a gap tooth installed to win a modelling competition? Or, alternatively, if you have a gap tooth, would you have got it closed to win a modelling competition? Let me know in the comments. Today's Twitch shout out goes to Kestrel_DC. Thank you so much for following me over on Twitch, you stunning woman on the game. And if you want to be in with a chance of being featured in my next video's Twitch shout out, make sure you go and follow me over on Twitch. It is Luxeria Plays and I stream 3 nights a week. Once again, I want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons. You can see yourselves on the screen right here. And as always, an extra special shout out to my top tier Patreons and channel members: Stephanie Niatupski, Morriganey Wolf, Erin Conkle, Magusta Goose, Steph Utek, Caitlin Wright, Megan Holly, Dana Broderick, Moldy Apple, Orko Samoji, and Lynx Howell. Thank you so much for following and supporting on this Chanel. You gorgeous people, you are keeping us alive and thriving, girls. And do you know what, my loves? Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know what? I'll see you in the next video. What was she on?